One Day We'll Be Dead and None of This Will Matter is a collection of essays by Sachi Cole, published in 2017. Personal essays about Sachi, who is the daughter of Indian immigrants. She was born in Canada herself, and sort of the collection starts out with her kind of wrestling with that separation of, you know, I'm a daughter of immigrants. I go back and I visit India every once in a while. There's an Indian wedding. Um, and there's a lot of stuff where it's like my family and I probably gained a lot by coming from India to Canada, but we've also lost a lot. And she is someone who was born in Canada, does not speaks only English, has is divorced from that is not her country. It's not some place that she does have a connection to, but she doesn't. And that there's that kind of relationship that really hit me as a story, not because I know anything about being a daughter of Indian immigrants. I am the son of an English and Scottish immigrants to this country, and yeah, we share the same language, but uh, there's that cultural cutoff of, we'd go back to England, we'd go back to Scotland, and it's an interesting place. I would visit my grandparents there, but you know, it wasn't mine. I mean, I think I had another overlay of kind of this weird English colonial thing of like, oh, our little juniors, Canada, as kind of dismissed thing of which I've never gotten over, obviously. Um, which we're ridiculous as a country, but that offended me a little tot, and even now there's still a little bit of offense there, even though it's also Canada. Yeah, we are both a country, and just newborns just out of our short shorts, and fucking colonialist settlers who've taken this land over from other people that we've horribly brutalized. But going on about that. Um, but yeah, so that obviously spun off a lot of things for me. I mean, there's things here of just her being a young woman, having grown up at a time where, yeah, the internet and social media was just a thing, and kind of all the kind of weird, gross kind of hypersexualism, which there's always hypersexualism when you're a teenager in any era, but just the particular flavor of the internet where older dudes would be consistently hitting on you, especially if maybe if you developed a little bit earlier. Basically the second you had any sign of boobs, you were immediately fair game to any fucking internet perv, which basically means fucking all males online. Yeah, we go from that to her being a woman who works in the media and getting dogpiled for daring to suggest that she was only going to be taking submissions from non-white, non-male writers, because we have so many white male writers and all their views, and if you only have one flavor, the customer might get kind of bored and not want to come back. And this is the kind of stuff that she was dying for when she was growing up. It's like, I would like to hear somebody who's got something similar to my experience, that could talk to my experience, that I could go, oh yeah, I get that, I know. And yes, the complete hate mob that came after her, that resulted in her going off Twitter for a while, but in the end coming back, because it's sort of the air that she breathes, which is, I think about as a very fucking privileged white male, straight seeming white male, in our culture, and also, but the generation I grew up in, of not wanting to be a part of that. not wanting to be a part of that. And I have a YouTube channels where I don't even have the comments on, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine not being part of the conversation, but I'm not in Sachi's profession, and I'm not of Sachi's generation where I feel like I'm missing something by not being a part of that conversation. I mean, I have trouble enough with the very civilized and very mellow and very probably incredibly boring booktube conversation. I find it incredibly exciting, but other people probably not. But even that, I kind of really, really dampen that down. So, these are dispatches from another world for me. Um, she has stuff of friends growing up, like in college, of being friends with a couple of white guys, and one of them just being, yeah, turning out to be a complete alcoholic, destructive alcoholic, who kind of turned on her with this kind of rage, and her just, you know, having to cut that off. Having one friend that she kept, but the other one, it's like, no, that's not okay. And kind of going into the rape culture, the thing of the pickup artists and all that. That's that is echoes of others of shit that's much older, of like getting women drunk and raping them, and that being somehow sold as okay, and like various examples of that in pretty recent pop culture, of that, where it's like, yep, this is sold as funny and haha, and it's like, no, that's not funny, that's not a laugh, that's not acceptable. But just like how that is such a part of her experience as a woman, that it's not even something like, yeah, I got roofied twice, I have to watch my drinks constantly, I can never accept a drink from anyone. Bartenders or strange guys trying to, like, roofie her and take them away, and it's like, um, you know, that is something that I know nothing about, and these are books that's what makes books like this important to have been written and to listen to. Um, her thoughts on the completely violent, uh, sexually violent anger directed to her by seemingly straight white males, and her insights, and just like exactly how damaged and in pain that these guys are. Doesn't make it okay, but it's like, it also is, you know, why is there such a hunk of the male of men, and significant enough that they're constantly roaming the internet and allowed to get away with all sorts of nasty shit by the wider culture. Um, and what's able to harass any woman that sticks her head up above the transom, to get, just, it's okay, it's a part of their job to be brutally attacked day after day after day after day, you know, pummeling them down, damaging their lives, and it somehow being okay in our culture. She has a lot on her thing with her family, with uh, her father and her mother, and the kind of negotiations she, as a daughter of immigrants, has, kind of culminating in the end with her relationship with her white boyfriend, Ham Hocks, as she calls him, and you know how that gets negotiated, how that's continuing to get negotiated, and how it's interesting, just her relationship with men that way, with her father, with Ham Hocks. Yeah, yeah. I started off by thinking, like, oh, this isn't any great groundbreaking thing, but it's like, it's really touching. It's really well done. It's a really it is a sad and funny book. More kind of the sad melancholy, which is what kind of goes for me. There's also stuff about her dealing with her hair. She is an Indian woman who has a lot of hair, which is not something that is allowed of a female to have hair anywhere but on the top of her head, and that is dealt with. It is talked about in this book in excruciating detail. Her relationship with her niece Raisin, who her brother married a white woman, and Raisin's got blue eyes, and it's like her complicated kind of reaction to that, of someone like, I grew up wanting blue eyes, and it's kind of like my parents, her parents were super happy when Raisin came out with those blue eyes, and the kind of shadism within kind of the Indian community in India and in Canada. That kind of weird thing of like white supremacy is something that's not just in white culture, but in the other cultures that it has impacted, and it's been inculcated into them. This idea that white is the best, such a fallacious and dumb thing, but that it's there. It's burrowed deep into my culture, into obviously Indian culture, into the heads of a lot of people, and fuck them up. Fucking up white guys who think they have all this, should be allowed to do all this nasty shit, but also brown people of various shades and how the hierarchies develop there because of it. It's like, yeah. So one day we'll all be dead and none of this will matter, or it's going to continue to matter, for a long time after we are dead. Great, good book. I'm glad I listened to that. More videos later.